Hello, fabulous Algebra 1 students. Today we are continuing again with Unit 6 Systems. And yes, this is the same target that you saw the other day. And I changed the background so it wouldn't be too much deja vu, but it is the same target. I can solve a system of linear equations and explain why a system may have no solution, one solution, or infinitely many solutions. Today we're going to focus on a little bit more substitution. And if you are learning at home today, when this video ends, you're going to send a picture of your notes. If you're in class, you're simply going to show the teachers. We'll be able to see that you are getting your notes for today. When you do send this picture, you're going to send it via Remind or email, not as an attachment in Google Classroom. Send it straight through an email, or you can text it through Remind to your teacher. So as a quick review, the name of the game is Substitution. So I'm going to remind you that we have studied how to do by graphing, and we've studied through substitution. So I'm going to start off with this one. This one is in the form of y equals mx plus b. And if it's in the form of y equals mx plus b, you do have everything you need to graph it. My y-intercept is -1. And my slope is also a -1. So I'm going to go down 1 over 1 to draw this line. And I can reverse that by going up 1 over 1 on the other side of the y-axis. So I'm going to get this line going here. So this is the line for y equals -x minus 1. And then I have a second equation, x equals 3. That is not in the form of y equals mx plus b. Remember, if you have an equation with x, no y, then it does not touch the y-axis. This is telling you, hey, this line only touches the x-axis. It only touches it at -3, and it's not going to touch y. So it can't have a positive slope. That would end up touching y. It can't have a negative slope. That would end up touching y. So this must be a vertical line. This vertical line, x equals -3. Everywhere on this line, x equals -3. This is -3, 0, -3, 1, -3, 2, -3, 3. Same thing down here, x equals -3 at every point on this line. Now that I've graphed it, I can see that these two lines cross at -3, 2. So that is my solution from graphing, and that is nice and quick. We're going to try substitution over here. And so y equals -x minus 1, x equals -3. Well, I already know in my answer, based on this right here, that the x value is -3, but I need to find the y value. The name of the game, substitution. I'm going to put -3 in the place of x. So y equals -x minus 1. Notice I still have the negative from the equation. X is parentheses, and I'm going to fill it in now with a -3. You might remember from multiplication or from number lines that negative, negative, right next to each other, no numbers in between it, is really a positive. So the opposite of -3 is +3. So I have 3 minus 1, which gives me my x value, my y value of 2. So I was already given that x equals -3 as soon as I started this problem. Y equals 2 is what I figured out from substitution, and the graph verifies that. We spent a week or so graphing equations, inequalities, systems. So now we are doing it by paper, pencil, substitution method, but we still get the same answer. So we're going to practice that some more. When should you use substitution? When should you use substitution? When you're looking at two equations and you have y by itself or x by itself. When one variable is isolated. When one variable is isolated, you should use substitution. All of the examples that I did the other day and that I've done, the one so far today, already had y isolated and x isolated. So this one already has y isolated. So that is what I'm going to substitute in the place of this y. I have what y equals. I don't know if it's 2 or -3 or 8 or 17, but I know that y is 6x plus 21. So I'm going to take 6x plus 21 and put it in the place of this y. So it's going to look a little bit more challenging than what we did the last couple days. So remember, I'm going to take this 6x plus 21 because it equals y, and I'm just going to replace this y with that information. So 7x minus 5, and you need to put big parentheses because you're going to put a big phrase in there, equals -13. So 7x minus 5y equals -13. 7x minus 5y equals -13. In the place of y, we're going to put 6x plus 21. Now, guys, this brings us back to the beginning of the year when we practiced using the distributive property. When you have a number outside the parentheses, you're going to multiply that number by both things in the parentheses as your first step. So this is a -5. -5 times 6x is -30x. And -5 times 21 is -105. But don't forget, everything else gets brought down. So I'm going to bring down -13, and I'm going to bring down 7x. After you do distributive property, you're going to combine like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign. So 7x and -30x are on the same side of the equal sign. So they can go directly together. 7 minus 30 is -23x. But I still have my minus 105 and my equals -13. Remember, we like to get the variable on the left-hand side of the equal sign, and it already is. We like the constants to go to the right-hand side. So we're going to move this minus 105 away by doing plus 105. It cancels, and we plus 105 on the other side of the equal sign. Now, I am having trouble with my pen writing. Grab your calculator and do -13 plus 105. That's very sloppy, but that's a plus 105. -23x comes down, and -13 plus 105 is 92. Then to get x by itself, we divide by -23 on both sides. And those cancel, and I have x equals -4. Again, guys, grab your calculator. 92 divided by -23 gives me x equals 4. Am I finished? No. I started out with two problems or two equations together, and in those equations, I did not know x, and I did not know y. So I have done some substitution. All that work, all that you've been listening to me talk about, all I have so far is that x equals -4. I still need to get y. But remember, the name of the game is still substitution. So I can substitute again. I just did substitute. Right here, I put 6x plus 21 in the place of y. But I'm going to substitute now -4 back up here in the place of x. So y equals 6 times -4 plus 21. Y equals -24 plus 21. Y equals -3. So my solution, x and y, in order in the ordered pair, -4, -3, x, y. Don't forget, you can check your work. So I'm just going to write on top of this problem right here to show you how it checks out. In the place of x, I'm going to put -4. And for y, I should get -3. 6 times -4 is -24. And negative 24 plus 21 is negative 3, guys. Also, you can check it in the other equation. So I'm going to put for right here for x, I'm going to put negative 4. And right here for y, I'm going to put negative 3. This comes out to 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. Negative 5 times 3, negative 3 is positive 15. And guess what? Negative 28 plus 15 is negative 13. Instead of y being isolated on the top row, I have x isolated this time, and it's on the bottom row. So I'm going to take y plus 3, and I'm going to actually put it in the place of the x. So I'm copying the top row, and I'm going to put big parentheses because I have to put a replacement for x. That's not just a number. And the replacement that I'm putting for x is y plus 3. Again, I'm going to do that distributive property. You do the same. Make sure you're doing it neatly. 3 times y is 3y. 3 times 3 is 9. Bring down the rest. I have 2 y values on the same side of the equal sign, so I add them together. 4y plus 3y is 7y. Bring down the rest. And then get the constants to the other side. So I'm going to minus 9 on both sides here. And I get 7y equals negative 7. In order to get y by itself, I need to get rid of 7 times y by doing the inverse operation, dividing by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 1 times y is y. Negative 7 divided by positive 7 is negative 1. So I have a value for y. So in my final answer, I'm going to have an ordered pair, and I already know y is negative 1. I still need x. Remember, we are doing substitution. So I am going to substitute negative 1 in the place of y. And I can do this in either problem, but remember, I want to make it as easy as possible. So I'm going to use that bottom row, x equals y plus 3. And I'm going to put the negative 1 in here for y. X equals negative 1 plus 3, which is 2. So now I know my x value is 2. So you need to make sure your notes are organized and neat. And if you are an at-home student, you are going to send a picture through Remind or email showing us your notes for today. And if you are at school, you will simply let us see your notes as we walk around and monitor the classroom. We'll see them while you're there. Okay, but from home, you need to send us a picture, that's what PIC is, picture of your notes from today through Remind or through email, so that we know that you have something to look back at to help you with your Delta math problems, which are coming up next. That's your due second for today. So head on over to Delta Math and get those problems done.